Good evening. You're watching Ukraine Brief on TVP World. It's been 1,384 days since Russia began its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. I'm Ashim Kumar, and here's the latest. At least 10 people have been killed and more than 4 wounded after Russia unleashed another massive overnight wave of drones striking across the country from Chernihiv in the north to the Kherson region in the south.
Russia's overnight barrage on Sunday left a trail of destruction across Ukraine, with swarms of drones punching through air defenses and slamming into civilian targets. The Ukrainian Air Force reported 5 ballistic missiles and more than 200 drones launched in a single night, an intensity now familiar in the country's northern and eastern regions. Energy sites were hit in 8 regions, forcing nuclear plants to briefly reduce output as emergency teams scrambled to stabilize power grids. Chernihiv suffered one of the most forceful blows. A drone detonated beside a residential block, ripping through apartments, igniting a gas pipeline and torching cars parked below. Fire crews fought towering flames as residents picked their way through shattered glass and buckled door frames. To show the scale of the damage, we hear from those who lived through it.
The windows were shattered. The car that was parked near the entrance is gone. All the household appliances in the apartment fell and broke. We woke up from the explosion. The ceiling was falling. Everything was collapsing. All our windows were broken. Now they're just gone. The interior doors are gone too.
As authorities assess the damage, Ukrainian officials warn that Russia's winter strategy is once again taking shape, straining energy systems, terrorizing civilians, and testing how much more the country's battered infrastructure can endure.
Russian forces struck the city of Zaporizhzhia and the nearby town of Vilniansk, wounding at least 15 people. According to regional officials, 3 guided bombs were dropped today at around 1 p.m. local time on the industrial zone of Zaporizhzhia's regional center, wounding at least 7 people. Another guided bomb struck a house in the nearby city of Vilniansk, also wounding residents and affecting nearby residential buildings. The victims suffered shrapnel wounds and blast injuries and were taken to hospitals, with at least 4 people reported in serious condition. Later, the regional governor confirmed that the total number of wounded had risen to 15. Peace negotiations between the United States and Ukraine have reportedly stalled as disagreements continue over control of the Donbas region and long-term security guarantees for Ukraine. According to Politico, a senior European official said that Washington continues to pressure Kyiv to surrender the remaining parts of Donetsk region that Ukraine still controls. This comes after President Zelenskyy described last week's peace negotiations between Ukraine and the United States in Miami as constructive, although not easy. In response, President
we spoke with Stephen Witkoff and Jared Kushner. I thank them for their readiness to work together 24/7. The American representatives know the basic Ukrainian positions. The conversation was constructive, although it was not easy.
We've been speaking to President Putin, and we've been speaking to Ukrainian leaders, including President Zelenskyy. And I have to say that I'm a little bit disappointed that President Zelenskyy hasn't yet read the proposal. That was as of a few hours ago. His people love it.
The leaders of the UK, Ukraine, France and Germany met today in London for another round of peace talks. President Zelenskyy said talks were productive but stressed that Ukraine cannot give up any territory. He added that the Ukraine-Europe proposals should be ready by tomorrow. This morning, President Zelenskyy was greeted in London by senior UK officials, as well as Ukrainian ambassador to the UK, Valery Zlozhny, to discuss a path to ending Russia's war in Ukraine. The meeting follows several days of negotiations in Miami between Ukrainian and US negotiators. The discussions in London centred on ensuring Kyiv retains the ability to determine its own future. Now, President Zelenskyy is headed to Brussels, where he is expected to meet NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte at his official residence to discuss security, air defence and long-term funding for Ukraine. They are also expected to be joined by the President of the European Council, Antonio Costa, as well as President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz stressed Germany's unwavering support for Ukraine and raised doubts about details in the US-backed plans.
We are still and remain strongly behind Ukraine and giving support to your country, because we all know that the destiny of this country is the destiny of Europe. So that's the reason why we are here, trying to figure out what we can do. And nobody should doubt on our support for Ukraine. And this is what we are firmly standing behind, and the outcome is open. I'm skeptical about some of the details which we are seeing in the documents coming from the US side, but we have to talk about that.
And that's it from Ukraine Brief, but as always, stay tuned, there's lots more coming up. Goodbye.